what we've all been waiting for. Did Chris Cuomo come out of the basement like he said he did? Did he stay in there the whole time? What's the specifics on it? We're going to find out. We're going to react to this video between Chris Cuomo and Dave Smith. Fantastic debate. A total reckoning for Chris Cuomo. I mean, how do you... Dude's got a huge ego. I mean, he's gonna brush this off just like he does everything. He'll show up tomorrow, Monday morning, fresh as a daisy. Hey, what we doing? Let's do it. Let's go. Tough guy, Chris Cuomo. I still don't believe he was curling that 50-pound dumbbell like that. Anyways, let's see what they say.
You said they tried to make Fauci the boogeyman.
Yes.
Right. Brother, when 9/11 happened, the one thing that they did during 9/11, they made somebody else the enemy. We all came together.
Yes.
During COVID, they never made China the enemy. Pelosi went to Chinatown claiming how racist it was for what Trump did. And instead of making China the enemy, we made Trump the enemy. And America became divided, and that's what we have, the shit show that we have today. So when you're saying like now we want to make Fauci the enemy,
right?
I have a problem with that because look how wild.
Wait, those are two different things. Explain it to me, Pat.
But it's not two different things.
How?
Because you just said, you said, instead of making China the boogeyman, we're making Fauci the boogeyman.
Yes.
Yes. In 2020 March, instead of making China the boogeyman, we made Trump the boogeyman. That's what you did. CNN did that.
No, that's not what I did.
So CNN didn't make Trump the boogeyman.
Trump has always been the boogeyman for most of the media.
Right, but
it wasn't about COVID.
Well,
I'm just telling you, it wasn't about COVID.
Well, he certainly was the
kind of a
boogeyman.
pass.
Yes, he was the boogeyman far before COVID.
Sure,
when you guys were repeating mindlessly every day that there was some giant conspiracy with Trump and Russia, and leading the entire country to believe that our election had been stolen by a hostile foreign power, and that Vladimir Putin had, and once again, like we won't get out of you tonight, not one apology from anyone at CNN when it turns out there was zero evidence that that was true. And you could say we just guessed right, but all of us who were paying attention knew from the very beginning that this was totally made up. And of all the things you could say about Donald Trump.
How could you have known right from the very beginning that it was totally?
This is how, Chris. Because we did not have Trump derangement syndrome. Sounds like a scientific term. It's just thinking Trump's the boogeyman, like you just said, thinking he's the boogeyman, turning him into this thing that he's not. Yeah, that's how, Chris. And Chris is just like everybody else in mainstream media. They think of themselves as the authority. They're right on everything. They have all the information. All the information that they get is the right information. And it's filtered properly, and it's given to us, and then we disseminate, we give it out to you. Once it's given to us, then we give it to you. The only information that you get is from us. And the only information that is true is the information that we get and that we give to you. So how could you have information about the truth that we don't have? Well, people at the top lied. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No way, that happened. Yeah, it happens. You mom and dad ever lie to you about anything? Yeah, it happens.
Totally made up.
Because it was the most absurd claim ever that when the CIA comes out and says Vladimir Putin has overthrown our elections and installed Donald Trump in there and presents zero evidence to back it up.
That's not the investigation. That's not the allegation.
Well, no, but it was what people on your former network said daily.
Listen,
it was what people on MSNBC said daily.
Not only have I never said that Russia put in Trump,
so
I've never had anyone on my show who said that.
Let's just be honest here for a second.
Go ahead.
Are you going to genuinely tell me that CNN and MSNBC did not every day for 3 years give the impression that Donald Trump was involved in a conspiracy with the Russians?
They absolutely covered the investigation into Donald Trump from a special prosecutor every day. MSNBC.
They covered it. They didn't promote it. Got it. Chris is good. You good, dude? You're good, man. I can see how you got your job. I get it now.
DC did it
And
differently, I would argue, than CNN.
why was that special prosecutor appointed?
Why was it appointed? Because the Attorney General thought he should be.
Here's why. And he admitted it himself on 60 Minutes, if any of you guys want to go back and listen to it. Andrew McCabe, the number 3 guy at the Justice Department, said, after Donald Trump fired Comey, these are his words, not mine. After he fired Comey, they decided to try to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove him on the grounds that he was unstable. And they realized they couldn't get enough of his cabinet to do it, so they settled on a special prosecutor. That's why. Not a single one of them thought he was a Russian spy. Let me tell you something. Carter Page, the one guy who got in trouble from the FBI, as I'm sure you guys both know. Why did he get in trouble? Because he lied to the FISA court. Because the CIA told the FBI that Carter Page was their guy. They knew he wasn't a Russian spy. The whole thing was complete nonsense just to frame Donald Trump so he couldn't get his agenda through. And CNN ran with it every single day. Unquestioning about the story itself.
I don't see it the same way.
Of course.
I don't think it was about keeping Donald Trump from having an agenda. I do think there is a problem with prosecuting political opponents. And I do think that both of the parties engage in it. And I think it's another signal that the party system has to die. I agree with that. There is no world.
Oh my God. Don't act like some savior here. Yeah, both of them do it, you know. But, like, what are they doing right now? One is literally prosecuting the other one's head guy. Okay.
In which you can be skeptical to the extent that they're sharing information with you. But when you have a special prosecutor, right, or special counsel, whatever you want to call it, and they are doing an investigation, you're going to cover it. And you're going to look at the information that they're saying coming out, and of course there's always copious leaks because there are politicians involved, and you're going to do it. Fox did it also, and they started doing it less and less as they believed that it wasn't working for their audience, which I understand the consideration. You can judge it any way you want. MSNBC, it was working very well. For CNN, it was more of a balance. But the idea, it was. Because look, I had a show there. And
yeah, we know.
CNN ranged from Democrats who hate Donald Trump to Republicans who hate Donald Trump, and everything in between.
Look, they were one of the only people who put Republicans on the payroll to talk about Trump.
Which Republicans?
You certainly didn't get that at MSNBC. We had Santorum.
Right.
You don't like him either?
No.
He liked Trump.
Who likes Rick Santorum?
He liked Trump. Although they did come up with a terrible name for what is a Santorum.
I'm
That
familiar.
is terrible. That was terrible that they did that to him, although he found it pretty funny. Anyway, the point is this.
Ugh.
I will defend CNN.
I know you will.
I know some people think that's strange because I got shit canned by CNN. I understand. I don't see it that way. I definitely got fired, but...
Yeah, it's called Stockholm Syndrome, buddy. It's all right.
That doesn't mean I'm going to blame CNN. I'll defend it. However, it is not fair to make me own everything that CNN does. Because I don't control anything but my show.
Okay, fair enough. So that's fair. I'm also being critical of CNN here, but I will say, disclaimer for the rest of the show, anything I criticize CNN, that's true. You don't own the entire network. You only own your portion of it. So let me ask you.
I couldn't have that much power. I got fired.
Fair enough. Okay, so let me ask you about what you do own, and in the spirit of we're being honest here, and our currency is the truth. Your reemergence from your basement, real or fake?
Yes. You want the answer? I'll give it to you. All right?
Yeah.
Here's what I was told. The short answer is
he starts with, here's what I was told. Question is, what you did, was it fake? Was it true or fake? Answer, well, what I was told
is real. Here's what I was told.
You were quarantined that whole time in your basement?
Yeah.
You didn't leave?
Oh, yeah. No. This is what happened. I was quarantined the time I needed to be. I forget. There was 3 days with fever below 99 or whatever the number was. You guys vaguely remember the same as I. I had a problem. I had fever for a very long time. They didn't.
I needed ratings. My problem was ratings had to get up, okay? Viewership had to spike. I needed something to help me.
understand why it had something to do with how my body was responding to the spike protein we now know based on my blood test now. I got to that point of being allowed to leave, but I still had fever because my natural body temperature is not 98.6, it's 97.6. So for me, being just under 100 or whatever the level was, I forgot, Rob, they can find out what the level was. I had it, but I didn't feel comfortable because I still felt sick. And at the time, the biggest names in our government who I was in contact with couldn't tell me what was the safest thing to do because I was afraid of getting my family. So what they said was, do it in stages. So I would kind of come upstairs with the N95 on, and I would try to get some energy, walk up and down the stairs. Then it was, I'm going to come upstairs. The house was, because my wife was taking care of everybody because everybody was getting sick. And I would do a little bit of cleaning, come back down. Still wasn't living upstairs. Then I would come up, I'd start cooking because my wife got sick from me. That's a great thing to have over your spouse, by the way. So I then started coming up more. And
You know how I dealt with that? My girlfriend got COVID. And I was like, well, I'm not going to not be around you. I'm going to take care of you. Because if you die from COVID, and I have to tell people that I quarantined myself away from you and just let you die, that's the weakest shit I've ever heard. Oh well, that's just me. So anyways, I got it too, and we went through it together. And we got through 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, and I couldn't do it anymore. I can't do that show.
Up and in. Our youngest, when I was coming up, finally I could move upstairs. Everybody was good with it. Christina had gotten sick. Mario had gotten sick. The other 2 hadn't. It had been about 10 days past when I was supposedly...
So, Chris, was it true or was it fake? Real or fake here?
...allowed to come up. But again, I still felt like shit, and I knew that I had a fever. I didn't have a fever by their definition, but I had a fever. So then when it was...
Look, I had a fever on my definition, based on my definition of what a fever was and is. And I get to dictate that. Let's go.
Finally over, they took the picture of me coming upstairs. There was so much appetite to take me down that was seized on, as it was that I wasn't quarantining because I was seen...
Yeah, everybody's just out to get you, dude. What's wrong with everybody? Why can't people just let this guy live and just treat him better? Poor Chris.
In Southampton, driving around with my family. No, I wasn't. I was seen in my own backyard in East Hampton. And a guy drove into my backyard and saw me there and came walking over and said terrible things to my wife and kids and then sued me for it. So that's what happened.
But so wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm confused because that was such a long answer for such a short question.
I quarantined in the basement. The picture that
but you were
saw,
outside with your family in the middle of it.
No, not in the middle. It was after the period where they said I could come out, but I didn't feel right about it. So I was doing it in phases. And the photo was from when, that's it. I'm not staying in the basement anymore. I can be back up. I can sleep in my room. I can do everything I want.
So that was...
I love this photo. Let's just look at that for a moment. Okay.
You're telling me that that guy, his
Rob, what is that? What is that picture?
That's me coming out of the basement.
After this, his confrontation with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And look, the confrontation, again, look, you and I live in different media realities, okay?
Right. I'm at this level, dude. Like, when you're at this level, everybody's coming at you. You don't get that. You're way down here, dude. You're like YouTube guy with no facts. You know, you don't even know the truth.
There is a currency to taking people down in the media, okay? I mean, podcasts aren't strangers to that either, certainly the Skank one, but it's a different reality for us, okay? They want to take...
Dave's like, this guy, he takes himself seriously. It's hilarious.
You down. And during COVID, people were pissed off about what was going on. I was one of the people who they blamed.
Yeah.
And they would come after me.
well,
I had
perhaps-
people come after me for not wearing a mask when I took a job.
Well, listen, I mean, yeah, because you were a part of this corporate media apparatus that was shaming everyone who wasn't wearing masks outside, even though it was completely anti-science, rooted in nothing but pseudoscience. And might the reason be that so many people were angry at you guys? Because this is always one of the things that's been really fascinating to me. And I worked for CNN, or I worked for Turner for about a year. This is before COVID. It was in 2017. But it was always really fascinating to me to get a sense of the culture in that building. And, you know, by the way, before COVID, trust in media had evaporated and reached all-time lows. After COVID, the corporate media will never recover. I mean, they are done. And it was always interesting to see how people at CNN would grapple with that. I mean, when Jim Acosta was sent out to Trump rallies and they'd be screaming, CNN sucks. And then there'd be these segments on CNN about what a hostile environment it was for Acosta, you know, and this poor guy. And then every week, Brian Stelter would have a different show about why no one trusts the media anymore. And the report would always be, we're doing a great job. It's just this misinformation online. It's just Trump. It's just everyone else. And no one in the corporate media world, because they're insulated in such a bubble, seems to be capable of recognizing that the reason is you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think
It's you.
You don't think
That's
there's
why.
misinformation?
Yes, there isn't misinformation, and you are one of the biggest purveyors of it.
How?
That's the issue.
But
That's a great question.
But that is
No,
that's
Chris asked me
suggestive that
how.
I say things that I know are not true.
Okay, no, so maybe
That's
I can't,
misinformation.
Listen, wait, so I can't prove you know it's not true, but I can tell you this. When you said, looking right into the camera to your audience, and you said about the WikiLeaks dump in 2016, hey, it's illegal for you guys to look at this. You have to just trust us. It's different for the media, so you have to get it from us.
Yeah.
That's totally not true.
What was I referring to?
The WikiLeaks dump.
No, but why was I saying that?
I don't know, it's completely untrue.
Under the Espionage Act, we didn't know at the time what would happen if things were deemed classified and you cached them from online. I had 3 different prosecutors on who said, we don't know how it goes. The only time it's ever been tested is with the media in the Pentagon Papers case. So we knew that the media is given protection on classified documents, even if they're leaked or stolen, but we don't know about the general public. That's what I said. Then WikiLeaks jumped on my head. Okay, that's what I signed up for by being in the media. I then said again, we released all of the things as they came out. All of Podesta's emails went right out. We never censored any of them. So all I was saying is be careful, that we don't have to be as careful because we know that if they come after us for what we do, we'll get protection. I don't know about everybody else.
I'm sure CNN,
but that's the explanation.
CNN would get protection. I'm sure Julian Assange won't. Doesn't matter whether you're a journalist or not. It's illegal to leak classified information if you're in the government.
Yeah.
It is totally legal for any of you to read it if it gets leaked, and this is just not true. And
well, no, hold on. It is true
under
the, listen, this matters. Do I think you should be able to download it? Of course. It's not even a question. It's easy. Does it get a
Just
little,
don't read it.
Does it get a little weird? Yeah, it gets a little weird because are we encouraging people to steal things and do things? No, I don't think so. But if it happens, I think you should be able to get it. If it's available.
This is just he just keeps talking like this with every topic because he feels that he is the authority. He's been sitting on a pedestal and he doesn't know that nobody cares.
You should be able to get it. Is that a little sticky legally? Maybe. The Espionage Act is not that clear about it. That was my concern. It wasn't listen to me and nobody else. Okay? I've never played that game.
That is what you said to
I know,
to
but you
your
are
audience.
making it mean something.
Well, the thing is
okay,
that
that's
look,
why I'm here.
well, look,
I will tell you what I meant.
Even in the Julian Assange case, by the way, if you guys want to look into the details of it, the claim that they're trying to make was that somehow he was involved with Bradley Manning on the actual tape, which is not true at all. But even they won't just say he wasn't allowed to read the classified information once it was leaked.
One of the reasons we kept interviewing
Chris,
Assange is because we didn't know that was true or
so,
fair.
So why is it, Chris, when you make these mistakes, they always go in one direction on the behalf of powerful?
Exactly.
You never seem to make these mistakes.
Boom. Let's back that up.
They always go in one. So why is it, Chris, when you make these mistakes, they always go in one direction on the behalf of powerful. Like, you never seem to make these mistakes where it's just like, oh, by the way, guys, we don't know about this vaccine. That never came out of your mouth.
Listen,
when you were smearing everybody like me and my family who wasn't taking it.
For what? Here, again, at the beginning of the pandemic, okay?
Talk yourself out of
They
this
came
one.
up with this vaccine during the Trump administration to flatten the curve with the most vulnerable people and to stop what was happening in the health.
And nobody was in support of it on the left because it was Trump. But then that changed
Healthcare system. And
when Trump was no longer in office.
everybody remembers this. You can laugh and you can have fun with it because it suits your politics. But there was panic. There were bodies in trailers all over the place.
Oh, come on. You're talking by late 2020?
Listen, no.
You're still going
I'm
with that?
talking in the heat of it when they wanted this vaccine, when Trump was getting all this praise for making it happen, which I believe he deserved. So that's what they wanted to do. The vaccine with the first 2 iterations of the virus absolutely accomplished what they wanted it to. You can go online, you will not find anything that will tell you otherwise.
If you're watching this, the way
Cool. That was it for that one. Real or fake? It was fake. That was the, I'm pretty sure that's the answer that he was trying to give us, but he never gave us. So yeah, fake. Real great guy. Chris Cuomo, the best guy. I wish he had his show. I wish he would come back, give us very nuanced takes on things again. You know, never siding with the powers that be. You know, he's just such a, it's my holy shirt. Such a, you know, right down the middle kind of guy. Very trustworthy. Straight answers. It's a straight talker. You know what I mean? He's got some great, he's got a great ability of just, you know, shooting straight down the barrel and answering properly. And I can't keep lying. Sorry. I wish I could do it as good as him. But you know, and you know what? I'm going to give him credit because what he does is high level. It's very high level, and very few people can do that. The only thing is, it's not admirable. It's not a cool thing to be able to do that, and to do it as well as him. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, here's the thing. You know, when you're around a lot of people who admire that and who are also doing that, and you're competing. He's a competitive guy. Chris Cuomo is a competitive guy. 100%. Him and his brother, they're competitive people. But they're competing in social, they're really good social competitors. And you don't get to that level. You don't get good at that kind of thing and to that level of media, and his brother, that level of government, without being highly competitive socially, in conversation with people. He's never going to let you get one over on him. He's never going to let you get a dig in without him getting you and hitting you over the head. You know, some people are good at that, and naturally, some people develop it, and they use it, and they hone that tool, and that becomes, you know, a skill. But is it a good skill to have? You know, obviously in this situation with him on CNN, it was not good. You know, he had honed that skill. And it started using it improperly. You know, that's just it's interesting when you can control an environment, conversation, get people on your side, and speak in a way that people are like, oh, I guess you're right. You know, you're a sophist. You know, you're a sophist. You know, you're just word salading everybody, and you're not really speaking the truth. You're using deception to get your way. And it's what Plato talked about in the Republic. And it's what us humans still suffer from. Yeah, getting our way, using words to get our way. And I can compare him to Russell Brand, which we did a video on Russell Brand. Russell Brand is very much that way too, but he has sought to use those skills, those verbal skills, those communicative skills, and ability to reason. He's used those skills for good, and has really sought the truth, and hasn't allowed big money, to dictate and control how he goes about doing that. So, look, I admire Chris Cuomo and his, all the skills that he has and all his talents and stuff like that, but he's just using them improperly. Hopefully, from hanging out with Patrick Bet-David, he can, come around and change and care more about the common folk. But that's a hard thing to do when you're high up on the mountain. Y'all have a good day.